This is Marie from Underground Crafter and welcome to another Tips Tuesday. In today's video I'm going to be talking about getting out of your color comfort zone. So I know for a lot of us we have a color comfort zone. We have colors that we use all the time either because we like those colors or because we feel like those colors will match with things that we wear or that are in our house. But they're not always even our favorite colors, or sometimes we see a really pretty yarn and we're like, oh, that's not in my colors. I don't know if I can use that. So if you feel like you're in a bit of a color rut, I'll be sharing 6 tips today to help you kind of break out into exploring new colors that will be lots of fun. And these tips will work for crocheters or knitters. So the first one is to follow a designer that's known for their color work. So there are quite a few designers that are just really good with colors. They know how to put together colors. They use bright colors, they use vibrant colors, and I find that when I look at their work I get really inspired to, use more colors myself. So a couple of the ones that I really like are Felted Button, Fresh Stitches, Leonie Morgan. Her blog used to be called Woolen Hook, but now it's just Leonie Morgan. Snappy Tots is also great. And so I will have links in the notes to this video to all of those different designers so you can check out their websites and see how they play around with color. So sometimes just looking at what other people are doing with color is enough of an inspiration to get you to start using a color that you really hadn't used that much before because you see somebody else using it and it looks great. So that's one way. Another way is there's actually a lot of websites that are about color exploration and color palettes. And so some of the ones that I like are Color Collective, Color Lovers, Design Seeds, and Pantone. And again, I'll have links to those in the notes for this video. But all of those websites, they talk about color trends and they show pictures, which I think is really helpful. So for instance, Design Seeds, which I love, they show a picture and then they'll list, I think it's 6 colors that are in that picture. And so it kind of helps you see what are the different elements of the colors that go into that picture. And so you can look at something that's from nature or that is somebody's home or is an outdoor picture, whatever it is, and you can sort of pull together what are the colors in that palette. And so when you're crocheting and knitting, it kind of helps you put together different colors as well. So you might have not really thought of a certain color going together with another color, but once you see it in one of these color inspiration websites, you realize that those colors actually can go together. And so that's another great way to break out of your color comfort zone, is by using these different color websites just to break down the picture into different colors. And then once you see that, you can look in your yarn collection and say, okay, what colors do I have that would kind of evoke the same feeling as that picture. Now, a similar type of idea is a color palette generator. So there are websites where you can take the picture that you have and upload it, and then it will do the same thing like what Design Seeds or another one of these websites I just mentioned will do, where it'll break that down into colors for you. So let's say you have a great picture from a vacation that you took, or a favorite location you like to visit, or somebody's house that you think is really well put together. You can upload that picture and then break it down into the colors, and then the same thing. You can choose yarns that match those individual colors and then coordinate them together into a project. So again, I'll put a link to one of those color palette generator websites in the notes for today's video. All the yarns kind of coordinate. So as an example, if you think about Lion Brand Vanna's Choice, even though there's a huge range of colors, the kind of the way that the colors come together, they actually can be put together even if you think they don't necessarily match. So you can choose yarns that are all from one line, and they usually will coordinate because either they'll be, let's say, very rich colors or very muted colors, and they tend to work in kind of complementary palettes. So you can say, you can think, I don't know too much about colors, but obviously the yarn company knows something. So you can choose individual yarns from the same line, so from the same company, the same line of yarn, and then kind of put those together because those usually will coordinate or contrast in a pleasant way. So that's another tip, is to let the yarn kind of figure it out for you. And on a related note, so instead of choosing yarn within the same line, you can have a multicolor yarn that does the work for you. So that's my fifth tip. You can find a multicolor yarn, and kind of like we talked about earlier with going to those websites that pull the different colors together, when you have a multicolor yarn, there's a lot of different colors that go into that, whether it's variegated or the self-striping yarns. And so you can look at those colors, and then you can choose something maybe in a solid color that's one of those colors in the variegated or self-striping yarn, and then you can add that to the project. So that's another way. If you're not sure if colors will match, you'll say, okay, well, all these colors are already in this multicolor yarn, so let me get those solids of those different colors together. So my sixth tip is to get a bit random. This is a little bit scary for some of us who like to plan every aspect of our crochet and knitted projects. But there are a couple ways that if you're really feeling like you just have to try something new and get out of that color comfort zone, there's two random things that can really help. The first one is Biscuits and Jam has a random stripe generator. So you can list the colors that you have in your yarn. This is great, by the way, for scrap projects. You might have a bunch of different, little bits of different color yarns, and then it will randomly generate a stripe sequence. And you can just choose the first one that it pulls up, or you can try a few times until you find something that works a little bit better for you. So in that sense, you're using the colors you already have, but in a random way. So you're kind of letting go of the control of how are those colors ordered. And then the other related way of doing this is to do a conceptual crochet or knitting project like a temperature project. So temperature projects, if you haven't heard of them, basically you choose a project. It could be a scarf, could be a blanket, could be whatever you choose. And for every day, you have certain colors assigned to a range of temperatures. And so if it's, let's say your color for 50 degrees is blue and it's 50 degrees out, then you'll make a blue row or a blue square or a blue whatever it is of that project each day. And so because you can't predict the weather, the striping and the colors will come in a way that's not totally predictable to you. So again, it'll be kind of random as well. And I think for me, when I did my temperature scarf a couple years back, it really helped me to feel more comfortable with colors, because two colors that I wouldn't have necessarily put right next to each other, but which actually did look nice together, it made me feel like, you know what, it's much easier to combine colors than I think. I'm really stressing myself out about this stuff. So I'll also put a link to my temperature scarf pattern if you want to try it out, as well as to a blog post that shares some of the same information I talked about today. So again, those are my 6 tips for getting out of your color comfort zone. To run through them again, the first one is to follow a designer or a blogger that's known for their great color work. The second one is to use a color inspiration website and take your color inspiration from them and then just translate it into yarn. The third one is to use a color palette generator. So if you have a particular picture that you find has a great combination of colors, you upload it and then it will tell you kind of break down those colors for you, and then you can look for matching yarn. The next one is to choose yarns from the same line of the same manufacturer, because those colors usually work harmoniously together. The fifth one is to go with a multicolored yarn and just be inspired by the colors that are in that one skein of yarn. So pull in other yarns that are solids in the colors from that one multicolored skein of yarn. And then the last one is to just go random. Use either a random stripe generator or a conceptual project like a temperature project or a sky scarf or a mood project to just, use whatever random colors happen and not worry too much about it. So I hope these tips will help you feel more comfortable with color. I'd love to hear your favorite tip for getting more comfortable with color. How do you break out of your color comfort zone? You can leave a comment in the notes, and I'd really appreciate it if you would follow me on Facebook or subscribe on YouTube, wherever you're watching this video. Have a wonderful day.